All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest installment of Mr. Brown's super awesome world history videos. Still working on the title. So this one is about why did the Industrial Revolution start in Britain? So we got a couple of things here. We're going to look at text from your textbook that you were assigned to read. Gunner, you're already ruining this. So, the first thing is agricultural practices increased. It just says it right there. You all can read, so no need to go more into that. And here is why the potato was a new crop for Britain, and it really increased the amount of food in Britain, which led to a major population increase. So potato equals population increase. Population goes up, and when the population goes up, you got more people to work. When you have more people to work, you need less people on farms. So population goes up. That equals more people in cities. So cities grow. Not unlike potatoes grow. Ba-dum-bum. All right, and cities grow, and there's factories in cities, so all of this changes, and that when there's factories, there's new inventions, there's all these ideas, and that's the first reason is food production. Actually, that's your first two reasons. Food production goes up, population grows, and cities grow. Those are your first two reasons why it started in Britain. The third reason is because of money. Believe it or not, a big surprise there. Money has to do with everything. So the third reason is they had a ready supply of money. You see it right there. It says it. Ready supply of money. And many British people were very wealthy. So these things called entrepreneurs were invested in finding new business opportunities and new ways to make profits. So let's talk about what an entrepreneur is. An entrepreneur is simply someone who has a bright idea and makes money off that idea. So here you see right here, a little light bulb. He has a bright idea and he makes money off said idea. And I say he because in 1700s Britain, it was always a he. For the most part, women were not able to work and have businesses largely. Now, some were the exception of the rule. We could talk about Mary Wollstonecraft that we talked about during the Enlightenment. So there are exceptions, but for the most part, it's he who owns business and controls government and controls church. Okay, so we're not to that point in history where women really start to get the rights that they deserve. So entrepreneurs are an increase of money. That's your third reason. Increased money. And we need to know this word entrepreneur. And let me spell it here for you. So it's ENTREPRENEUR. An entrepreneur are people that start businesses or have a great idea to make money. Entrepreneur. You need to know this word. Okay, so the fourth reason is because of natural resources and water power. Natural resources could be things like coal, things like cotton, anything that comes from the earth and can be made into something more, okay? So when I talk about water power, the first way this manifests itself is through this water wheel right here. So this wheel would sit on a river. Here's the river here. And this wheel would turn and turn and turn. Inside the building that you're looking at would be a bunch of clock-like things like gears. And they would do all these tasks, and they would run like a spinning jenny we learned about, things that would produce in the textile industry. Right now, we're mostly talking about the textile industry, which is making cloth into string and clothes, textile industry, okay? And at first, that's what it was. All these these rivers that were plentiful in Britain. Plentiful. There was a lot of rivers in Britain, so they had all these places where they could put water wheels and make these textile factories. That's how water power first manifests itself. But after that, it gets more complicated, and we get things like the steam engine. And those would drive boats, and we read about that too in class. Okay, so it starts here, but it gets more prevalent through newer machinery that's much more modern and things that we think of. Okay, so that is our fourth reason why the Industrial Revolution started in Britain. And the final reason is markets. The map you see here, everything in gray is things that are not owned by Britain, and everything that is in red are things that are owned by Britain. And if we go back far enough, I could color all this red here, and that would be where the 13 colonies lie, and that it was also owned by Britain eventually, not obviously. So Britain is right here on the map, and it owned all of this red land. So as you see, this very small country owned vast amounts of land, like a whole continent in Australia, like a gigantic country in India over here, all down Africa, which we'll learn about here in the next unit. Okay, so they had places to sell goods. So they would make their goods here in Britain, and then they would take them over here and sell them here. They take them down here, because another key quality of Britain is that the British have the best navy in the world at this time, and they are the most modern at shipping, so they can get to many places very easily. So that's a very big deal for the British. So not only do they make all this new stuff, they have all sorts of people to sell goods to. Okay, so that's why it started in Britain. We had 5 reasons. So let's quickly go over the 5 reasons. Reason number 1 is food production. Food production. I'm going to abbreviate here for time. And reason number 2 is a population increase, increased population. Reason number 3 is entrepreneurs and excess money. Entrepreneurs and an increase of money. Reason number 4 is natural resources, and we talked about many rivers in the country, and coal. There's a ton of coal in Britain as well, so there's a lot of natural resources. And finally, markets. They had places to sell. That's all a market is. It's a place to sell. So you could think of you going to the market. It's a place you buy a place or something. So a market is a place where they could sell. So they had markets. Okay, and that concludes this installation of Mr. Brown's World History videos. I just put a question mark at the end. I still am working on the title.